Hey everyone, welcome. How are you? Welcome to Little Brother, Britain's premiere reality spin-off to the most complained about television show in history. It's day 15, the time is 7:31, my friends. Glad to have you with us. With us tonight, a former Big Brother winner who everyone actually likes. It's nice that he's here. He now has ITV's The Mint, so I'll be asking him lots of difficult questions later on and also charging him premium rates to answer them. It's Brian Dowling, everyone.
Yes. Hello. Thank
And
you.
with him, writer, musician, Pots Bengali, journalist extraordinaire. No one could accuse him of being culturally ignorant. He is, and in fact, he knows the answers to everything. It's Paul Morley's everywhere. Paul Morley is here. Wonderful stuff. You're allowed to riotously cheer the guests. That's not a problem, everyone. Riotously cheer the guests. That's what I like to see. They've done nothing wrong and shouldn't be treated badly. We kick off the show, however, my friends, with Little Brother's big news. Now it gets serious. News story one, taking stock of the situation with pressures mounting, in the house. There could never be a better time to lay ill feelings to rest. Never want to talk behind someone's back. At 11:28 this morning, Danielle attempted to clear the air with Shilpa. Kind of. Take a look.
Shilpa, I don't want you to feel like you can't talk to me, you know, because you can. I don't agree with some of the things you said to Jade, and I don't agree with some of the things that Jade said to you, but...
I didn't say anything to Jade. I just reacted to the things that she said to me, which I'm not.
Well...
And I just want you to know, Danielle, I didn't have a problem with you using 4 cubes or the chicken stock. I didn't make them, I don't own them. All I wanted to say was, when you use chicken stock, you firstly don't use it in pasta or in the noodles. You use it very sparingly because it's concentrated. So you just require one. That was what I meant. Nothing more, nothing less.
I just said to Shilpa that I don't agree with some of the things she said to Jade last night. And she said, I never said anything to Jade. And then she said, that all I wanted you to understand was that you can't use the ox cube. And then that's when you walked in. She said, because they're very concentrated or something. I don't know, I don't even know why I even bothered saying something to her.
So, not really clearing the air then. Next story, who is bad? In the beginning, they were one happy family. 15 days later, the tension in the house has reached fever pitch. At 3:53 this afternoon, Jermaine attempted to smooth over the cracks.
Guys, can I say something to everyone? I think it's very important that whether some of us lead before others, it doesn't mean that we lost. It doesn't mean that we were, what we said will cause us to be thrown out or whatever. I'm just saying we came in here with a certain amount of love in our hearts, and we should leave with that. We should not let this change us. I feel that everybody here has love in their hearts, and I feel that everybody has a certain thing that ticks them off, but at the same time, we're all human. We're all human. When I'm gone, I'm gonna miss everybody, really, because my love is real. I'm one way. I just wanted to say that. Really. Yeah.
Thanks, Jermaine.
Thank you.
I have no doubt that Jermaine's love is real, but he's going to miss everybody? What? And lastly today, world news. Unprecedented world news indeed. Big Brother has hit the headlines both here and in Shilpa's homeland of India. On the streets of Bangalore, protesters waved banners saying down with the organisers of Big Brother. Take a look at this. There the lads out. A lot of people there. As you can see, not happy boys at all. So anyway, I'm off and I'll see you on Monday. And finally, some channels and websites are running reports that Jade and Shilpa are up for eviction, but we have to stress this is merely conjecture. We've had no confirmation from the big boys whatsoever. That, my friends, was Little Brother's big news. OK, so let's get cracking. Brian and Paul are with us, everybody. No point skirting over what's been happening in the show, guys, so let's get straight to it. There's been a lot of tension in the House over the last couple of days. Do you think the nominations are going to reflect this?
I would like, personally, to see... I think Shilpa will be up for nomination regardless because of the tensions, I think. But I would like to see Jade up against Shilpa, and I'd like to see Jade go.
Okay.
In there, it's very easy. You look for excuses to nominate people. And I think Jade and Shilpa have given people those excuses together. So I think people will just nominate them because it's an easy option.
Do you think Shilpa's given a lot of that?
Not given housemates, I think because what's been happening in the group, I think all it takes is 1 or 2 nominations. I think 2 or 3 people will nominate her. So I think she doesn't deserve it, but that's just the way it is.
Paul?
Well, it's the dream scenario and the nightmare scenario of Jade versus Shilpa. I hope it happens because it will be wonderful and it'll focus a lot of energy. The energy that's been created out of this, I think, is actually a very good energy. It's all very well sort of everybody being in alarm about the racism and how outrageous it is. But if Big Brother's ultimate function as an educational programme, if we like, going back to its original roots, is to reflect society. I don't think this is a bad thing, because let's face it, it's out there and it's being reflected. I also think it's interesting that we scoffed so much at Jade's claim that she was the 17th most influential person in the world.
Yeah.
Obviously, now it's been proved true. Gordon Brown is rescuing millions of pounds.
Great point.
I think Jade ultimately may contribute to the next nuclear war. And then it'll be laughing.
Yesterday we discussed the tensions in the House. There's no point skating over it. What's your take on the tensions in the House?
They're very hard to watch. They're very difficult to watch. I mean, in a way, the goodies going in was a mistake. I wouldn't burn the producers of Big Brothers, but I would give them a good telling off, because it completely ruined the dynamic of what we like about Big Brother, which is a bunch of people go in and drama evolves naturally. This completely changed that. Everything changed. And there was a certain dynamic within the house, i.e. Joe and Danielle, that looked at Jade and looked at her as if she was somehow immune, because she was the Big Brother expert. She knew how to play this game. She's the one everyone adores. We buy her perfume, we buy her books, we love her.
I didn't.
They think. And what that did, that shifted the emphasis of the house completely. And in a way, made the house incredibly difficult to live in.
Sure.
We look at Dirk and we look at Jermaine now and we say, why aren't they doing something about it? I think very early on they withdrew because they felt they were in a school playground. And now that it's becoming serious and quite dangerous, they're still sticking to that position because they don't know what's going on in the outside world.
Brian?
There's 2 groups in there. There's Daniela, Jade and Joe, the three witches, we'll call them. And then you've got Cleo, Dirk and Jermaine, and then you've got you kind of have Shilpa, and then you've got kind of Ian and Cleo kind of not really doing anything. So it's kind of 3 groups in there, I think.
Where does Jack fit in?
Jack, somebody needs to give Jack a tongue. He's got no tongue. He does not speak. He doesn't say anything.
But Jack, you know, he's a slightly sinister sidekick of Jade, and in a way, I mean, I know Dom was laughing yesterday about him being the brains in the partnership, but unfortunately, I think some of the real evil is coming from him. I think some of the real, you know, Jade is just misanthropic. She just hates people to an extent. She's very jealous of people. She's very jealous of people succeeding. You know, in a way, I'm beginning to feel sorry for that axis of bigotry, because they're facing something on the outside world they have no idea about. Sure. And all they've basically been doing is expressing their girly opinions based on what they think Jade wants from them.
Now, obviously, that's your opinion, but I want to get your take on this.
It is my opinion.
The fact that we've had so much sort of international news, and the fact that politicians arguably opportunistically have got on the back of this. You know, Gordon Brown's been led into it, Tony Blair's has commented, Keith Vaz has tried to table a motion. I mean, what do you think of that? Are you surprised it's such a story worldwide?
I think once the story starts, it takes off. The media responds to itself. They're responding to a story that they've almost lost sight of what it originally was. If it is Danielle mimicking Shilpa's voice, if it is them worrying about people eating food with their fingers, all that's been gone. This is a story that needs to be talked about, the racism in this country, and people have finally found an access to talk about that story. Big Brother's being dragged into it, if you like.
But I mean, that's an interesting point, because I was on the way here today and I was listening to 5 Live on the car, and they had 3 politicians on there, none of whom had seen Big Brother. One of whom said, I'm shocked that the BBC are doing this, which I just found absolutely extraordinary. And in a weird way, as awful as this is, and it is awful, whether it's bullying or cultural ignorance or racism, whatever you want to call it, but the one thing is, it's getting people talking in a way that politics never could.
See, Big Brother is a very powerful show. I think it always has been. And I think it does bring stuff like the taboo issues to the front, and that, I think, can only be a good thing. But I think it should be handled in a positive way. And I think everyone does feel sorry for Shilpa, but is it racism or is it just their ignorance and a lack of culture?
it's a kind of arrogance, and I think what's interesting is also, as a subplot, you know, if you think that we have Joe and Danielle and Jade, we have the representation of a girl group, manufactured girl group, a reality television show and a WAG, it's also a sign, I think, that we're finally fed up with what's being celebrated is not necessarily intelligence and smartness, but physical appearance. It'd be wonderful if this was a turning of the tide. They'll be dragged into it, and that's a whole new kind of game, really, what's happening to them and what they're going to face when they come out. But they went in with a kind of immunity and an arrogance that at the moment what we celebrate in a post-heat world is their kind of world, and this, in a way, is the truth. We don't really celebrate it. We've gone along with it, and this might be the moment when it changes.
OK, let's have a little look at what Shilpa's mum had to say earlier on Sky News.
Crying over a game, over somebody treating you rude or bad, or, you know, racial discrimination thrown at you. No. She's been a very protected kid. This is the first time she's gone into a program and she's traveled on her own, and, you know, she's in a house with, you know, complete strangers, different cultural backgrounds. And she went with an adventurous spirit. I mean, an adventurous spirit, you know, believing that in the normal course she's playing a role in her films, and here she would be playing herself. And as parents, we didn't want to, you know, come in the way of her wanting to experience this, and so she went along.
I mean, surprisingly, kind of upbeat about the situation, really.
Yeah, I thought she'd be a bit more emotional. But obviously, then again, you know, maybe I think Shilpa's, you know, defending herself and being quite OK with it.
Well, that's
she's
the thing
not complained, Jess. She's not complained.
Absolutely, and that's the thing I think that a lot of
saying
people
that
lose
it
sight
is a
here.
racial thing.
There's no way Shilpa's taken this lying down.
No, and that's a good thing. People like people that back back.
Absolutely, and she's making mincemeat of the white working class view. I mean, her dignity and her sense of position at face with it is extraordinary. What's interesting as well is that sense of dignity with which he's come in with. And what's for me quite significant about this particular edition is when Jermaine and Dirk and Shilpa are together, i.e. the non-British people, and they are completely nonplussed, completely amazed, almost saddened by their sight of what symbolises modern Britain, which unfortunately at the moment is Joe, Danielle, Jade and her slightly sinister sidekick.
OK, so who do you think is going to be out on Friday?
I would like to think if Shilpa and Jade went up, if they do, probably a horrible thing to say, but I would like to see Jade being booted out, please.
Well, yes, but we are hoping for humanity in the sense that it's Jade booted out. But then, you know, what's interesting is the first time Jade was in the house, while she was in there, her entire personality was changed by the media. And she had to come out and face being a completely different character. We've now sort of almost compensated for that by giving her the gift of celebrityhood. And now also, and this time, she's going to come out with her personality completely changed. And this time, we've crucified her. And she's also involved slightly in a sad way, being involved in this completely kind of, you know, ridiculous farce that I think was begun because they put the goodies in too early. OK, thanks a lot, guys. More from you in the second half. But what do you think? In Cool BBLB these days, we leave it totally up to you. I can't imagine what you might want to talk about tonight. Give us a call, 09911 101 101. Text studio and your question or your comment to 83188 or email us bblb@channel4.com. Don't go anywhere. We're back in 3. Thank you. Hello and welcome back to Big Brother's Little Brother. I hope you're very well. It's day 15, the time is 7:48. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I wish I was in Danielle's shoes right now. Come on, we all are, aren't we? Well, luckily for you, Catherine Jakeways, about 8 years ago, went off to discover what it was like to live the life of a wag for the day.
Now, as I'm sure you'll remember, Danielle said in the house, I have never done a day's work in my life. So what does she do all day? I'm going to meet some of her friends and try and live her life and step into the shoes of Danielle Lloyd. Although I'm a size 8, and I'd be surprised if she is. Right, now this house belongs to Leandra, who apparently is Danielle's best friend. So we're going to see if she can tell us a little bit more about our lovely Scouse princess. Hello. How are you? Oh my God, it's a gaggle of lovelies. I was going to ask if you could help me achieve that Danielle wag look. Yeah. Okay, ta-da! Wow! You look lovely. Yeah. Would you be seeing that with me? Yes. Yeah. Definitely. Would you be slightly embarrassed and walk a bit behind me? No. What I need now is sorting out my hair, tanning, nails, and then most importantly, I need to bag myself a footballer. Yeah. Look a bit like a transvestite. Isn't Isn't it amazing how quickly a ray of sunshine can give you a nice healthy glow? Taxi! So I've come to have a plate of her favourite food at the Savoy. And in fact, I must be doing something right look-wise, because I have no trouble getting a table. True? Oh. So I've got the lot, basically, haven't I? All I need to do now is bag myself a top footy hunk. All right, so they're not exactly Premiership, but a girl's got to take what she can get. Come on then, boys! Who wants me? There's going to be a fight, surely. I love you! So as a footballer, would you be proud to have someone like me on your arm? How do we look together? No. Do you actually be slightly embarrassed? Yes. I love you! Apparently you're a bit desperate. I'm not sure how to take that, but will you be my boyfriend?
Yeah, why not?
Come on, then. You're not staying here. No, you're coming with me. We've got to go and get a mansion and a couple of dogs. I'm going to get into modelling.
Right.
And ideally TV presenting. We'll have 3 children.
Who's paying for this?
Well, you are on your Premiership wage.
Good teeth on Danielle's friends, don't you think? Wonderful stuff. Obviously, we filmed that about a couple of weeks ago. Now, the boys are still with us. Hello, boys. How are you?
Good.
Good stuff. OK, first of all, it seems the house now is obviously split into 2 groups. We touched on it before the break, with Cleo and Ian floating in the middle. What should the housemates do to regroup?
I think...
Or can they do anything to
I think they need to send in new people.
OK.
And really throw it into chaos. Because I do think, I think it's unbreakable.
Firstly, who would go in there at the moment?
I think some fit, sexy man.
OK, yeah. And who would you put in there? But who would agree to go in there at the moment?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, it's a shame because, in a way, what it does need is some strong, possibly B, it would be great if A, but I think A, definitely not. B, some strong, real celebrities go in and slightly blow it apart a little bit. Blow apart the Jade dynamic, give us a dose of some sort of reality. But also, oddly enough, I mean, in a way, but the interruptions early on have been so huge. I also count Carol Malone, in a way, the tabloid journalist. I think she was also an interruption into the general dynamic of celebrities in a situation. But in a way, another interruption might actually settle it down a little bit and get us back to the experiment.
It sounds strange. I miss Leo, and I never thought I'd say that.
Oh,
yeah, we miss Leo because, in a way, there was a kind of innocence to his horror.
Yeah, I know.
Whereas now the horror is slightly sinister.
OK, listen, could Cleo and Ian do more? That's really, I mean, in terms of the situation we've got at the moment.
Because I know Ian, so I'm so surprised. I think he's just not being himself. But then again, I think it's difficult when this is all going on. I don't think he wants to get involved, because I don't think he wants to say something he regrets.
Of course.
But I think he's just being a little bit too serious. I think he just needs to be himself and just say something.
Well, one of the great things about H was when he becomes serious, because us haters, and H is for hate in many ways, we're quite, aghast that here was a guy suddenly being sensitive and concerned about the issues. Where he stopped was not taken out of the diary room and engaging with the problems
OK, let's have a reminder where the power lies in the house.
It's us 3, it's them 3 and them 2.
I don't like that because I like both sides.
So do I.
I feel suddenly groups have formed. That's happened after Jade's come in.
You know what you need? You need etiquette classes, Jade. You need etiquette classes.
I don't want manners to you. You know what? You need to be a real life in your life. That's what you need.
Get it? You can't reason with stupidity.
Who's in there? Shilpa.
Quicker than that, Shilpa!
Little army. Aren't they human? Little army with a general.
The 3 little musketeers.
I think we've got
a problem.
I mean, I guess it depends on who goes on Friday, but can you see the dynamic of the house changing?
I think if possibly if Jade went, I think it would change slightly, because I think Danielle and Joe, for some strange reason, are almost coattailing her, and Jade is queen. I think if Jade went, maybe it would. That's what I think.
I think it's got to change to an extent that some of the people in there, like Dirk, for instance, there's got to be a moment when they reach a kind of tipping point, if you like, and they really start to get to grips with what's going on. At the moment, he officially announced very early on he was withdrawing, and as did Ian H. But there comes a moment when they've really got to tackle this, because they've really got to say, it's a game per se, but there's also areas where this kind of game needs us to really deal with this tension and this hatred. And Jermaine also, I mean, it's all very well, this lovey-dovey things that he does, but there's a lot of hate in that house, and his love and his little mantras are not really doing anything to do with it.
Do you think hate's the right word?
Hate's the right word, absolutely. Hate, absolutely, and that's why people are talking about racism.
You're talking about hate or H?
H is for hate, as I said. But you see, it's that thing of tackling. Jermaine is not tackling the situation, and to some extent, we've all been in a room with Jade, and we know what it's like to slightly tickle her fancy and have a go at you, and we know that they don't want to do it. But there comes a moment where they're really going to have to deal with it.
Sure.
It's all very well saying it's schoolgirl stuff, and I'm too old for this, but because they're too old, because they're grown-ups, they're going to have to deal with this.
Listen, I haven't got time to go and slap the light boxes, but who would you like to win?
Ian.
Shilpa. And Shilpa. OK, let's go to Cool BBLB. Hannah's first in Newcastle. Hello, Hannah. How are you doing?
Oh, hi, Dermot. Hi, guys.
What's your question, Hannah?
I think we've all noticed that Ian and Cleo are steering clear of conflict.
Sure.
But do you think this is genuine, or do you think there are tactics involved and they're just playing a game?
Ryan, you know Ian well.
I know. I think he's kind of afraid to get involved because I think he wants to come across not as a nice person, but I think he just want to get too involved in case it just all blows up. I think he just wants to have an easy life, and that's why he's not saying anything.
And I think both Cleo and H are nonplussed because they were quite friends with Joe and Danielle. And I think they're actually nonplussed of what's coming out of their mouth. I think they're also going through a moment of change when they suddenly realise, without the benefit of what's going on out here to support their theories, there's something, sinister is afoot.
Kirsty in Essex. Thanks a lot, Hannah. Kirsty in Essex is next up. Go for it, Kirsty.
Hi, Dermot. Hi,
Hiya.
Brian. Hi, Paul.
Hello.
Hello. My question is, has your opinion of Jermaine changed at all since the house has divided into a group? Because I think he's come out of his shell a little bit more, become a bit of a father figure to Shilpa.
Yeah, he has a little bit, I suppose.
I quite like him. I think he's fantastic. His love is real.
I've always had a theory that David Guest and Jermaine Jackson were kind of an advance guard for Michael, that eventually Michael will reinvent himself through this kind of show. So the fact that Jermaine is coming to life is a suggestion that one day Michael may well be involved.
Guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Once again, it's not a happy-go-lucky show, but I'm glad you joined us. We are back tomorrow, same time. Get your tin hat ready for the main show tonight, 9 o'clock. Don't forget Ross is on tonight as well. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.